Hello everybody, buenos días, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo andan? This is something that I've been wanting to do since acquiring this property. I decided that I'd really like to document the work that we do on it, because Victoria and I have quite a few plans of what we want to do. I enjoy making videos, so I decided why not put the two together. So this is kind of episode 1 of what we'll be doing on the land now that we've acquired it. And so just to kind of start out today, just to show some things, give you some ideas of what we're wanting to do and what's going on, and yeah, just starting from there. So first things first, well, here it is. Here on the right side is ours, on the left side is actually not ours. So this is currently the gate that you use to access the property. And so this property here, used to be one big parcel, used to be about 20 acres. And then I'm thinking probably around the time that house burned down back in 2015. In fact, Victoria and I saw that house over there burn down. We were walking down Kings Highway one day in the monsoon season, and all of a sudden realized that there was a ton of smoke and there was fire, and then fire trucks were coming down. One of my friends here in Douglas who works as a firefighter was working on that house, and passed by, said hi to us, all that stuff. So the way this works is, like I said, the stuff on the right is our property, but we actually got the bigger parcel, because while over here is ours, it also extends to the back and it reaches around in the L shape around the burnt out house. This right here is its own property. It has nothing on it. And of course, where the house is over there, that is the third property over there. So this road, has an easement on it, because the only way to access either of these 3 parcels at this moment is through this road, which is interesting because when we first bought it, we came to the gate, found a lock on it. The owner's like, that lock's not supposed to be there. I don't know who put that there. So to cut a lock that day, and that's just kind of how that worked. I really don't want to use this road indefinitely. Property law was one of my favorite subjects in law school, and I just don't want to deal with easements and all the garbage that comes with easements. So the idea that I have, I've already talked to Victoria about, and this is not our mailbox. We do not have an address. This mailbox is connected to the old house that used to be there. We won't have an address in our parcel until we put the septic tank in. What I would like to do is coming down the highway, just a little bit more here, and then probably about halfway down the property line is put in another gate, probably about right here or so, or if not, the next little piece over. This is actually a really good barbed wire fence. They stretched it very well when they put it up, so I don't want to get rid of it. It's actually really nice, but I do want to install a gate, like I said, either right here or right there. I'm thinking more probably over here, because the issue right here, you see there's a ton of mesquite trees right there, whereas if we put it over here, not nearly as many, a little bit more direct route to what we're trying to do. And then of course we'd have to grade a brand new driveway and kind of grade over this part right here. Of course, it's my understanding, well, I don't know if you can do on an opt-out permit like we're trying to get. I actually have no idea if we're allowed to do that or not. But if you're gonna grade a driveway that includes anything other than the natural earth that's already there, you do need a permit. So the idea being to get it graded and just use the natural earth that's already there, because then we don't have to worry about a permit. And then later on, of course, based on the history that we grew up with Mom and Dad's road, it always washing away, we're gonna want to put something else there at some point. But to get started and to be free of the easement on this road over here, to just grade a natural earth little driveway from there on down to about where the trailer is, and just work with that until we're ready to put in gravel or something like that. So you can see kind of where we're situated, right over there. That's where my parents are. You can see their ranch house. You can call it a ranch house, but it's right there. So that is the original, well, not the original I suppose, but our family's version of the Gladwell Ranch is just right over there. And so then you just come down the highway right here. There's the dip that floods with water every monsoon season, and then here we are, just right here, so not too far. My siblings and I as children used to walk this distance all the time. That's what we would do. We actually almost bought this piece of property back here, which would have been quite an interesting adventure for two reasons. First of all, it's huge. So it extends from down there. You really can't see it. There's another gate down there in between the two kind of further power lines. So it extends from down there and all the way over here past the creek, past the dip in the road, and it extends out that way quite a bit. This is almost 80 acres is what this is. And so we were looking at buying this one. We actually made an offer just to see if they would bite. They sort of bit, but what they bit is not what we wanted, because how we got this parcel over here was, first of all, it was cheap. So it was nice and easy to get. Plus, when we first talked to our realtor about it, he's like, yeah, you could do something that's called seller finance. And you're not worrying about credit scores and all that. It's just you set up the plan with the seller, with the title agency, and that's it. It's just between you people. Of course, this is cheap enough that we don't have to worry about that. We would have had to do that over here, because what they're wanting for it is, I believe, $55,000. And so we said, you know what, let's just throw our line out and see what they do with it. And so we offered, $35,000 at a seller finance type thing with 6% interest, all that good stuff. And they responded back that they didn't want to do seller finance, they wanted to do cash. Willing to bring down $45,000. And I was like, well, we don't have $45,000 to put into land at the moment, so that's not going to happen. And it's funny because I had originally told our realtor that I really wasn't interested in seller financing that much land, because it's basically like paying for a mortgage just for the land. But after thinking about it for a little bit, I thought, if we brought it down to the right price, I would have seller financed it, but they didn't want to, so that's their problem. But that was the first thing with that, how big it was. The second adventure that we would have had there, which ultimately it's a good thing we didn't buy it, because it just would have been too much. If you're familiar at all with the property over here, you know that the creek snakes all the way through that land. What that means is that most of that property over there is actually a floodplain. So it would have been very hard to build anything over there. The nice thing, our property is really close to the creek. It's still just a little piece of it is on the floodplain. Actually, just this first piece right here by the trailer where we're wanting to build is not considered a flood zone. So we shouldn't have any issues with what we're wanting to do over there. No issues with the opt-out permit or anything like that. So let me walk on down here, down the road, and kind of give you all some ideas of what it is that we're trying to do here. Right? So again, once we cannot use this road anymore, I'd like to start not using it again. We've only walked about, I think I mentioned before, half the land, because somebody, I'm assuming when it was all one big parcel, these people over here put a fence, a barbed wire fence that goes right through the middle of the land. And so we haven't been past that point yet, just because I don't want to, it's again a really good barbed wire fence. I don't really want to bother with it. But once I get a surveyor out here, we see exactly what the property lines are, then I'll be cutting that fence and putting up our own fence to actually encircle the entire boundary of our property, so that we don't have any barriers aside from the fence that we're going to be putting around the house that will eventually be here. Property lines at the moment, there is a barbed wire fence all the way down there that I'll show at some point. Of course, the highway is the other line, and then the line that splits our property from these two parcels right here is actually the road. It actually comes right down the middle of the road, so that's kind of how the easement works. It was just an automatic easement, because the only way to access anything was through this road right here. So it goes, like I said, right down the middle and right up past that barbed wire fence that's up there that you can't see at the moment, and then there's a 90-degree angle actually that goes to the left here and creates that L that gives us the full 11 acres on the property. One thing Victoria and I did discover is that post over there, I won't walk all the way over there, but just so you can kind of see it, I'll zoom in a little bit. That post does belong to us, and that's good for a couple things. Because first is we're looking at putting up like a security camera or something up there to help better protect the land. Of course, it's obvious there's been illegals and squatters and whatnot over here, So putting up security something over there. But also, what's interesting to me, which we might not be able to use this pole at all, but still interesting, there's a box up there that looks like it's used as a nest. I'm wondering if it was put up there for like owls or something, so we might not be able to use that pole at all anyways, but it's still kind of cool that it's there. So anyways, you can see there's these piles of trash that have been left around. Victoria has a sneaking suspicion that what happened was, once the house burnt down, they kind of abandoned that property. I'll talk about this in a little bit, but really no one has done anything with that in a long time. So the suspicions being that squatters or illegals or whoever it is that's been coming across the land here has been dragging stuff out of the wreckage of the house to use, and they just kind of left it all around. But what's interesting is, it's not like there's just trash all over the property, because there isn't. There's only like maybe 4, maybe 5 main piles that are piled up exactly like this. So like over here, and then over there by the trailer there's a big pile, and then over there where Victoria and Nicholas are at the moment, there's a pile of car parts, which is more normal in these areas, if you grew up here. So part of our goal today is to move those piles over here so that they're out of the way, and get it ready for us to be able to load them all up into a truck and take them to the dump and be done with it. Because what we're trying to do, if you can see over here, in Gotham and Marshall are asleep at the moment, otherwise they'd be running all over the place. You can see, I don't know if you can see it, you can barely see this orange line right here, okay? So this orange line that goes all the way across, it's not straight. I know it's not straight, and of course it'd be hard to make it straight without more stakes than just the 2 we have at the ends. But this is what Victoria and I are using as a very crude boundary to show what we want to be cleared out in order for the house part of the property. Okay, so the idea being, if you clear up to 1 acre or less, you don't need a permit to clear the land. If you were to clear more, you would need a permit. So what we did is, for a square acre, it's more or less, each side is about 208 feet, give or take. And so the other day, Victoria and I, we came out here, we brought some stakes, we brought this orange yarn, and we measured out 208 feet per side. So you can see the line here. I don't know if you can see the line over there that goes that way. But we discovered that where we started from was actually really good, because where we started from actually takes us all the way to that barbed wire fence that I was talking about over there, that eventually I will be getting rid of once we have the surveyor tell us what the boundaries are. But the idea being that this area right here, which is a lot bigger than it might look on the camera, I don't know what it looks like on the camera. Victoria and I did not realize how large the area was going to be when we first measured it out, but we're very pleased with how large it is. But this is the area here that we're going to be asking our friend to clear out for us. We're going to be paying him, of course. He has his little business he does. But this is just this whole area, 1 square acre clear out, that we're going to use for the home site, for a couple of other things that I can talk about here in a second. But that's just kind of the idea here. And so this trailer over here, this is something, it's been on the land for a few years now. I guess the owner's the one who set it there. I don't know why. I don't know if her idea was that she was going to live on the land and do something with it. But it's been here for a few years. It wasn't here when the house first burned down, so that's why I know it was placed here by the owner who bought this parcel after they were split. And so it's not in terrible shape. Surprisingly, the windows are all intact. There's no broken glass. But unfortunately, when you look inside, you can absolutely tell that there have been squatters and there have been rodents and just nasty stuff like that. So yesterday we actually came out here. I'm not going to go in here at the moment because I don't want to expose my clothes to too much. But we came out here, we fogged. There's our fogger right there. I don't think we really did anything because it's so cold out here. I think most of the insects are already dead. But you can see there's rat droppings there. These rat droppings are all over the place in here. So up there, you know, the bedroom area, behind this door right here, the bathroom area. I don't know if I'll really be able to show that too well. There it is right there. And so we fogged it out. And Victoria and I, we have now brought a bunch of protective stuff to wear and some bleach and stuff so we can go in there, start ripping stuff out, start cleaning it up. The idea being if we can fix it up enough so it's usable, not to live in, but literally just to use, like if you go camping or anything. It could be a fun project, or maybe if we at least clean it out, gut it out, and decide we don't want to do anything else with it, we can sell it and see if somebody else wants to do something with it. But it's just a little side piece that we weren't expecting to get with the land, but it came with the land. Of course, my truck has a fifth wheel hitch, so we'll be moving this at some point. We need to, make sure that the tires hold air, and who knows, since the last time this thing was moved, so I don't know if they'll even rotate at this point. But Victoria wants to get it moved over there, out of the property line that we set up for the clearing, so that there won't be anything in the way when we get our friend over here to clear the land. So basically, just on the other side of this orange string right here, because our land goes right up to the road that's there, and then that way, including that pole. So basically, we just set it right here until we figure out exactly what we want to do with it. But that's the story with the trailer. We're not planning on doing much with it besides that. So Victoria's wanting me to do this, but I can't help it. Remember when I said we had protective gear? You should have been yelling at Gotham a couple minutes ago. I get very angry.
I know. Will you turn that off?
But you're so cute. Gotham? Are you sorry? No? Do you think mommy's cute?
Yeah. You love mommy? Yeah? He knows not there. He knows. Oh my gosh, I don't think I can do this.
He knows what love means.
This is like bringing back memories.
We're working in the COVID unit.
Okay.
Marshall, what's going on? You. Fogging up her glasses. So we're gonna be going into the trailer in a few moments so we can start clearing it out and doing everything we need there. My gun won't fit, well, it probably would fit inside this thing, but what good does it do me if I can't reach it, right? So we'll lock it inside the car while we're in there and have the kids go play and listen for snakes. But we'll have to see what cleaning out the trailer looks like. I'm probably not taking my phone in there because I don't want to expose it to whatever nastiness is in there. So you'll just have to wait to see the aftermath. Smile. Okay, kids don't have to smile. Alright, about halfway done with the trailer now. And by that I mean kind of gutting out the stuff that needed to come out that we didn't want in there. We actually forgot to bring a broom and a shop vac to take care of, the rat stuff and stuff like that. So we'll do that another day. That's what we got out of this trailer. Have no clue how in the world they got this couch in there, because we had to take it apart to get it out. And the mattress was also an absolute nightmare. What is this, a queen size? Queen size that they had up there in the loft, and just getting it out of the little doorway with the steps. It was not fun. So,
No.
you see right here. There's the doorway with the steps. So next step is to deep clean everything, get rid of the rat droppings, And then we're talking about the possibility of just gutting it all together, taking out, you know, the stove, the shelves, everything, and starting from scratch, or again, like maybe selling it. So now we're gonna do lunch that we brought with us and see what else we're gonna get accomplished today. More than likely, we'll probably just move the remainder of these trash piles out to where they go. That'll probably be all we get done for today. Really, the next big step is going to be to call the surveyor to get him out here so we can figure out what the boundaries are to the property, and then we can work cutting the barbed wire fence. It's all the way over there, and putting up a fence that actually encapsulates the boundary of our property. So we'll see where things go. Hi. The idea actually we have a couple ideas of what we want to do to develop this land. First, so that we can get out here, we've actually talked about this for many years, long before we bought this land. We talked about the idea of getting a shed, like a tough shed, you know, the kind that you sell at Home Depot or Lowe's or somewhere like that, and basically converting it into a tiny house. And so the idea being that we'd like to do something like that, you know, and just put in the electric, put in a drywall, get a water tank to haul water until we're ready to drill the pump, and place it somewhere about here or so, you know, and do something that has a couple of lofts that we can use for, you know, makeshift bedrooms, but place it over here so that the idea being, once we have the actual house here, then this would be a guest house, and the actual house would be somewhere over here on the other side of where the trailer is now. So for the house itself, again, we have a couple of ideas of what we want to do. You're up 80s, 90s with very ugly mobile homes, never wanting to own one, basically. But the manufactured homes of today are quite different than those of, you know, 20, 30, 40 years ago. And so we were actually at a CAFCO in Tucson recently and found some homes that we were like, we could absolutely live in one of these. These have become a game changer in recent years. So one of the options we have is to possibly work with CAFCO to put in one of those types of homes, and it would be over here in this area right here once the trailer is moved, and then, like I said, the little guest house would be somewhere over there. Imagining all this cleared out, you know, one day with the backyard, all that good stuff. It's the first idea that we've had. Just recently, we've discovered something called home kits, to where basically they will sell you the kit to the house. So everything you would need in order to build your own house, all of the lumber and everything, they give you the blueprints and all that stuff. And you could get one for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house for as low as $16,000. And so this is something that we've just started looking into recently. You know, between the two of us, we have a little bit of construction experience, because the con with doing a home kit is that they give you the stuff, then you got to build absolutely everything else on your own. Of course, you can contract out the electric and the plumbing and all that. Because when it comes to actual experience, you know, Victoria and I did a ton of stuff on our 9th Street house when we were still living there, including electric, which I learned a lot about because the wiring in the house was absolutely horrendous. So I'm very comfortable with things like electric. You know, I used to build sheds in high school, so I'm more comfortable with that construction piece. I've worked in construction in Sholo and some other places. Victoria's always done it with her dad, so we're comfortable with stuff like that. I'm not comfortable at all with plumbing. In fact, plumbing is something that if we were to do the house kit, I would want to hire somebody out to do it, because I've never been good with plumbing and I just don't want to even touch that. But we also realize if we go that route, it's going to take a ton of work, an absolute ton of work. So we're not sure yet. We're still thinking about things, trying to decide exactly how we want to do things. But one of the things that I hope will happen is this property again over here with the burnt out house. Like I said, They've neglected it for forever. Nobody has cared about it in a very long time. In fact, it seems like before the house fire, I don't think anybody was living here. Because if you go and you look at the taxes for the site, they are more than 10 years behind taxes. And this house burnt down probably about 8 or 9 years ago, right? And so when I say they're behind in taxes, $10,000 behind. So I'm signed up for the next tax lien auction for Cochise County. I'm really interested in that piece over there to see if we can get it through a tax lien, which has its own things that I won't talk about here because it's very, very legal and all that stuff. But the only thing is, at the moment, I'm not willing to pay $10,000 to get it. So if that's what we would need to do, we have to wait. We'll just kind of see what happens when it comes to that. There might be some other options that we have to be able to acquire it as well. Of course, there's always adverse possession, but that would take 7 years, so that's not really feasible to do, or the most honest thing to do either. But there are a couple of things that we can look into. We have a friend here in the ward that some of my siblings might know, Renee Calhoun, who has her own bit of off-grid property, somewhere out in the east, and she was giving us some ideas of what we could do to avoid tax liens. And we have our other friends who've been living here in the woods, who they have their own off-grid property, which I'm not trying to do off-grid. The most off-grid that I'll do is, a generator and solar panels for the tiny shed home that we might build. Once we have an actual house here, I'm going on grid. I don't mess with that stuff. But they have a lot of ideas of how to help us get going, which has been really, really nice. So we're relying on them quite. So that's just been our ideas for the property. Like I said, we're going to be working on starting to clear out the trailer today, I think, and just kind of do this garbage right here. That's why we're trying to move these other garbage piles so that we can make room for all the stuff that we gotta get out of here. So Victoria's had Nicholas working on it. It looks like the two little ones just woke up. So Marshall's very upset because he doesn't want to be locked up. The Gotham's just still waking up. Gotham, say hi. No? Did your mom yell at you? Yeah. So, and Nicholas swears that there are black widows over here, but we haven't seen them yet. Hey Marshall. Do you want out? Yeah, he's not happy. So, for now, we'll see where today takes us. So we've decided to go ahead and call it a day here. The kids are getting a little bit too antsy for us to be comfortable to continue pushing them, so we decided to go ahead and cut off here. We did get quite a bit done, which is good. We have talked about the possibility of getting a trampoline and just putting it out here for now, just to give the kids a little something extra to do while we're out here working on the property, so we'll see about that. But for now, we're gonna go ahead and not worry about it for the rest of the day. And so this will be the end of episode 1. I probably won't start episode 2 until we get to the point where we either have a friend come out and start clearing out that spot that I showed you over there, or we have the surveyor come out and tell us what our boundaries are so that you can all see what the other side of the property looks like for the first time, just like us. So we'll see what happens when we get there. Until then, take care. Cuídense y nos vemos.